Welcome to Books in 10. Remember, we're raffling an iPhone when we reach 10,000 subscribers. Like, subscribe, and journey with us into this fantastic book.
Oh, wow.
Share with your friends, and let's create the biggest book community on YouTube together.
Sounds great.
Oh, there's a link to purchase the book in the pinned comments. Enjoy.
Cool.
We are accepting book requests to create content within the comments. Books in 10. Suggest the best titles in the comments. Now let's go. Today we're taking a deep dive into Siddhartha, exploring a young man's quest for enlightenment.
I like it.
It's not just a story, it's like holding up a mirror to our own search for meaning and purpose.
You know what I find so captivating about Siddhartha?
Yeah.
It's how it peels back the layers of religious practices and rituals.
Oh, interesting.
We're not just looking at actions.
Right.
We're diving into the internal struggle of a soul yearning for something deeper, something more.
Let's unpack that.
Okay.
We first meet Siddhartha, a young Brahmin,
Right.
seemingly living the dream. Right. Loving family, top-notch education, mastering all the rituals.
He's got it all.
But there's this nagging emptiness, like a piece of the puzzle is missing.
Absolutely. The source material really emphasizes this internal conflict.
Really?
It's like he's standing in a room full of answers, but none of them feel quite right. He's going through the motions, performing the ablutions, the sacrifices.
Wow.
All of it,
Yeah.
but still feeling this void within.
So it's not enough to just know the rituals.
It's not.
He needs to experience something more.
Exactly. He's craving an understanding that goes beyond the words in the scriptures,
Okay.
a truth that resonates on a deeper level, and this yearning, this discontent, is what sets him on his path.
And that path leads him to make a radical decision, ditching his comfortable life
Oh, wow.
to join the Samanas.
Yeah.
It's like he's going from 0 to 100, right?
It really is a dramatic shift.
Wow.
He leaves behind everything he knows, defying his father's wishes to join these wandering ascetics who practice extreme self-denial.
It takes serious conviction to make that leap.
It really does.
And his best friend, Govinda, goes with him.
Talk about loyalty.
Talk about loyalty.
Yeah.
It seems like Govinda represents that part of us that craves connection and support on our own journeys.
I see that too.
Yeah.
Govinda embodies that unwavering friendship, that shared thirst for enlightenment. They're pushing themselves to the limit.
Yeah.
Fasting, meditating, controlling their breath.
Wow.
But they have each other through it all.
Right.
It highlights the power of companionship in the search for meaning.
It makes you wonder, though,
Yeah.
if this extreme self-denial is just another form of escape. Are they really confronting the self or just running from it?
That's a question that Siddhartha grapples with.
Yeah.
He starts to see a parallel between the Samanas practices and, say, someone seeking solace in a bottle.
Oh.
Both offer a temporary reprieve from the self,
I see.
but don't provide any lasting solutions.
Okay.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
So they're suppressing their desires instead of understanding them.
Precisely. And this realization is key to Siddhartha's journey.
Okay.
It pushes him to question everything he's learned,
Yeah.
to search for a deeper,
Right.
more authentic understanding of himself.
And then they hear about Gautama, the Buddha.
Right.
His fame is spreading like wildfire. Everyone's talking about this enlightened being, radiating peace and wisdom.
Right.
It's hard not to be drawn to that, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Siddhartha and Govinda are intrigued,
Right.
hoping to find answers from someone who seems to have achieved what they're seeking.
Okay.
But what's fascinating is that even in the presence of the Buddha,
Right.
Siddhartha doesn't lose his critical thinking.
He's not just blindly accepting everything he hears.
Not at all.
Wow.
He's still questioning, still probing.
Okay.
He challenges the Buddha directly, arguing that enlightenment can't be handed down through words. It has to be experienced.
So he's not dismissing the Buddha.
Right.
He's just not convinced that anyone else can give him the answers he's looking for.
Exactly. And this leads to a pivotal moment.
Right.
Despite Govinda's decision to stay and follow the Buddha,
Yeah.
Siddhartha chooses to leave.
Wow.
He's committed to finding enlightenment on his own terms, trusting his inner compass above all else.
That's a bold move.
It is.
That highlights his unwavering determination.
Yeah.
That's a big turning point. He's walking away from someone who's considered enlightened.
Right.
You have to wonder,
Yeah.
what does he think he'll find out there that he couldn't learn from the Buddha?
That's where the next chapter of his journey gets really interesting.
Okay.
He decides to immerse himself in the sensory world, experiencing everything it has to offer.
Okay.
It's like he's diving headfirst into the opposite of his ascetic life.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
He goes from extreme self-denial to embracing the world of the senses. That's a complete 180.
It is. He meets Kamala,
Okay.
a beautiful courtesan, who becomes his guide to the realm of love and pleasure.
Okay.
He learns the art of commerce, dresses in fine clothes, and fully embraces the material world.
I'm getting whiplash from this transformation.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
So he's traded a loincloth for silk robes. Is he just rebelling, or is there a deeper purpose here?
That's the key question.
Yeah.
He's not just indulging in these experiences for the sake of it.
Right.
He's approaching them with a sense of detachment, almost like a scientist observing an experiment.
Okay.
He's trying to understand the nature of desire and pleasure to see where they lead.
So he's using the world as his classroom. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Does he find what he's looking for in all this indulgence?
That's what we'll explore in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
But for now, I'll leave you with this.
Right.
Imagine going from a life of extreme simplicity to a life of luxury and abundance.
How do you think that would change your perspective on the world and on yourself?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So we left off with Siddhartha diving headfirst into a life of luxury and pleasure. It's a stark contrast to his time with the Samanas.
It's almost like he's trying to find enlightenment through the opposite extreme. But does it work? Does he find fulfillment in all this worldly success?
Well, for a while, it seems like he's thriving. He becomes a skilled merchant, accumulates wealth, and enjoys the finer things in life. But as we learn from the source material beneath the surface, a creeping disillusionment begins to set in.
So it's not all it's cracked up to be. The money, the possessions, they don't bring him lasting happiness.
No, they don't. He starts to see the emptiness of a life driven by external pursuits. The things he once disdained in those he considered ordinary people become his own reality.
Right.
He gets caught up in the same cycle of desire and dissatisfaction.
It's like he traded one cage for another. He went from the restrictions of asceticism to the gilded cage of wealth and status. Still a cage. That's a great way to put it. And he realizes this, you know? He even starts to envy the simple joys and sorrows of those he used to consider beneath him. He sees their genuine connection to life, something he's missing despite all his success.
It's a harsh realization.
Yeah.
Here he is living a life most people would dream of, and he's miserable. What happens next? Does he just keep going through the motions?
He does for a while. He falls into a pattern of pleasure-seeking, trying to fill the void with more possessions, more fleeting experiences. It's a downward spiral that leads him to a very dark place.
He hits rock bottom.
He does. He reaches a point of such despair that he contemplates suicide. He's lost in this maze of his own making, completely disconnected from the person he set out to be.
It's a powerful reminder that even when we achieve what we think we want, it might not bring us the happiness we expect, but there's a turning point, right? I mean, he doesn't actually go through with it.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. And it's not a sudden change of heart. It's more like a faint whisper from his true self, a subtle nudge in the right direction. He has a dream and he hears the sound of the river, something familiar calling him back from the brink.
The river, again. It seems like a recurring symbol in his journey, almost like a guide.
Exactly. It represents the constant flow of life, the ever-changing nature of existence. And this time he listens. He chooses to embrace the river, surrendering to its wisdom instead of fighting against it.
So he literally becomes a ferryman. Talk about a career change.
Right. He leaves behind his life of wealth and status to join Vasudeva, a simple ferryman who has found a deep connection to the river and its teachings.
What does he learn from this seemingly simple life? How does ferrying people back and forth lead him closer to enlightenment?
Well, he's no longer trying to force enlightenment through rituals or worldly pursuits. He's learning to observe, to listen, to be present in each moment. It's about letting go of control and accepting the flow of life with all its ups and downs.
It sounds like he's finally learning to live in the present moment instead of chasing after some future ideal. But isn't there still a part of him that wants to teach others to share what he's learned?
Absolutely. And that's where his son comes into the picture. His arrival presents a new challenge, a powerful test of his detachment and understanding.
Wait, Siddhartha has a son. We haven't heard about this yet.
It's a later chapter in his journey. His son is raised in the city, accustomed to a life of comfort and privilege. He rejects Siddhartha's simple life, yearning for the material world.
Oh, wow. So he's facing the same kind of rejection he showed his own father. It's like history repeating itself.
It is, and it becomes his most difficult lesson. He wants to share his hard-won wisdom with his son, but the boy isn't interested. Siddhartha experiences the pain of rejection, the anguish of seeing his son lost in the same maze of desires that he himself struggled with.
That must be incredibly painful. But doesn't he try to force his son to follow his path? I mean, he's pretty strong-willed. We've seen that already.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But that's the amazing thing. He realizes he can't control his son's destiny, just like his own father couldn't control his path. He has to let go to allow his son to find his own path, even if it's one filled with mistakes and pain.
That's a profound level of acceptance. To let go of that desire to control, especially when it comes to your own child. It seems like this experience pushes him even further on his journey.
It does. It's in this surrender, this letting go, that he truly embraces the essence of detachment. He's not just talking about it anymore, he's living it.
So he's finally achieved enlightenment. Is this the end of his journey?
Well, that's a question with many answers, but there's one more significant encounter that I think will shed even more light on his transformation, and that's where we'll pick up in the final part of our deep dive.
We left off with Siddhartha embracing the wisdom of the river, finding peace in his simple life as a ferryman. But something tells me his journey isn't over just yet.
You're right, it isn't. Years pass, and Siddhartha's understanding continues to deepen.
Right.
He witnesses countless faces, stories, joys, and sorrows as he ferries people across the river. He's no longer judging or comparing, just observing the flow of life and recognizing the interconnectedness of it all.
So he's finally living that unity he was searching for.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not just a concept anymore. It's something he experiences in every moment.
Exactly. And it's in this state of peaceful awareness that he encounters someone unexpected.
Really?
His old friend Govinda.
Govinda. I'd almost forgotten about him. He stayed with the Buddha, right? What brings him back into Siddhartha's life after all these years?
While Govinda has spent his life diligently following the Buddha's teachings, he's mastered the doctrines and practices, but still feels a sense of incompleteness.
Wow.
A yearning for something more. He's heard about Siddhartha's wisdom and has come seeking guidance.
It seems like they've taken very different paths.
Yeah, they have.
One focused on external teachings, the other on internal experience. I wonder, will they even recognize each other after all this time?
Their reunion is truly a pivotal moment in the book. Govinda, despite his years of dedicated practice, still feels a sense of lack. He's followed all the rules, but hasn't achieved the peace he sought. And Siddhartha, in his simple life as a ferryman, seems to have found something profound that Govinda is still searching for.
What happens when they meet? Does Siddhartha try to teach Govinda what he's learned?
He does try to explain, to share his insights about the unity of all things, the cyclical nature of life and death. But Govinda struggles to grasp it. He's trying to understand it intellectually, but it's not clicking. It highlights a key theme of the novel. True enlightenment isn't about accumulating knowledge, it's about lived experience.
It's like trying to explain the taste of chocolate to someone who's never had it.
Exactly. The words just don't convey the actual experience. And Siddhartha, recognizing this, invites Govinda to experience the unity directly. Not through words, but through feeling.
How does he do that?
He asks Govinda to kiss him on the forehead. And in that simple act of connection, something extraordinary happens.
Oh, wow.
Govinda is flooded with visions of interconnectedness, seeing a continuous stream of faces, young and old, joyful and sorrowful, all merging and transforming. He witnesses the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, realizing the impermanence of form and the underlying unity that connects us all.
Wow. So he finally gets it, not through words, but through a direct experience of connection.
Exactly. And it's in that moment that Govinda recognizes in Siddhartha's smile the same serenity he once saw in the Buddha. It shows that enlightenment isn't limited to one person or path. It's a state of being accessible to anyone who's willing to let go of their ego and embrace the present moment.
It's a powerful message. So what does all of this mean for us? What can we take away from Siddhartha's journey?
I think it reminds us that true enlightenment isn't a distant goal. It's something we cultivate moment by moment. It's about listening to the river of our own lives, embracing the ups and downs, and recognizing the interconnectedness of it all.
And it's not about following someone else's path.
No, it's not.
It's about finding our own way.
Yeah.
Even if it takes us through some unexpected twists and turns.
Absolutely. We don't need to renounce the world or become ascetics. We can find enlightenment in the midst of our everyday lives, in our relationships, our work, our moments of joy and sorrow.
So the journey is the destination.
In many ways, yes. It's not about reaching some endpoint. It's about being fully present in each step of the way.
That's a beautiful thought. Thanks for diving into Siddhartha with me today. It's been an enlightening journey. And to all our listeners out there, remember to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking. Your own path to enlightenment is waiting to be discovered.